Goeienaand, good evening from a warm Brisbane, and as usual, we'll start the show with my favorite video clip. And that's good to see. Now, let's start with the comments of the week that were on my channel. And as usual, there are some good ones and there's some bad ones. But that's the way it goes. Ben Hashem wrote, "How can anyone respect someone who has no regard for the environment? If you kill the environment, you will die with it. I live in the region of Port Elizabeth's Eastern Cape. A few years ago, it was discovered that sewage was running into the Swartkop's River and causing absolute devastation to the environment. Pollution from industries have always been a challenge, but it was manageable. There is also a constant battle to get rid of water hyacinths, which can spread like wildfire in a short time. Plenty of compost from these plants to flourish. The Swartkop's River is one of the largest bird sanctuaries in the country and has been declared a national marine estuary. If it were not for the concerned people's hard work to fight these problems and the river having an open mouth, all would have been destroyed already. Another very controversial incident is continuing between Port Elizabeth and Dispatch. There used to be a reserve next to the main road where certain very rare plants grow that you can only find in that area. Some black businessmen have paid a company to bulldoze the area, and they just about destroyed all the vegetation. Then they sold plots to black residents at 300 Rand each for 20 square meters. The local municipality has laid charges, but the damage is irreparable, and the goons will probably get their way, since they immediately started building shacks as the bulldozers flattened the vegetation. They were forcibly removed but returned almost every day to rebuild the shacks and placing stakes on the ground to mark out their plots. Okay, on that happy note, let's hear what Bradley Newell, who's a very regular commentator on my channel, had to say. And he quotes from the London Times last week. And the London Times says, interesting point of view, affirmative action. South Africa is the only country in the world where affirmative action is in the favor of the majority who had complete political control. The fact that the political majority requires affirmative action to protect them against a 9% minority group is testament to a complete failure on their part to build up their own wealth-making structures, such that their only solution is to take it from others. And finally, a word, this is again Bradley talking, recently coined to describe South Africa's current political situation, and I think it sums it up really well. The word is ineptocracy, and just if you want to write that down, that's spelled I-N-E-P-T-O-C-R-A-C-Y, ineptocracy. And the description of that, or the meaning of that word, is a system of government where the least capable to lead are elected by the least capable of producing, and where the members of society least likely to sustain themselves or succeed are rewarded with goods and services paid for by the confiscated wealth of diminishing numbers of producers. And that pretty well sums up what's happening in South Africa, I'd say. And finally, on a less positive note, we have Nicodemus Magella, and I'm sure he's a member of the EFF, and he wrote, "Don't racialize crime because what happened to Naka and relatives is an element of crime. Vodacom, we are still to shut it down because you can't touch our leadership and we let you escape like that. Stop being a propagandist. Tell the truth, Chief, because Vodacom never said our leader are corrupt, but they said they are abusers of democracy. Chief, you are too old to lie as such." Okay, there are the comments of the week. I'll just have a quick look at the side channel before I get our first guest on. And I'm absolutely delighted that Carene is going to be joining us. She's been very involved, as you know, with Black Monday. The regulars will know this. So before we get Carene on, let's just see what's been happening in South Africa. And I think you're all familiar with this situation. Okay, let's go to scene 2. There we go.
I'm sitting in the Vodacom shop at Mall of the North. The EFF have just been in here and trashed the place dramatically. We all had to be rushed to the back of the shop to hide in this store that they have at the back here. They didn't get in here. But there's a lot of panic and crying and everything going on.
Okay. Sadly, that's what's going on in South Africa today. Now, to discuss that, I'm going to try and get Carene on Facebook Messenger on video, and we're going to have a chat about what's going on in Cape Town and a lot of other things. Give me a second while I just call her up. Okay. Oh, there we are. Hi, Carene. How are you?
I'm good, and you, Scott?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you so much for joining the live stream this evening. I really appreciate it. Carene, what I'd like to do is just ask you a bit about your personal story. Tell the listeners, a bit about your life and your family and, a bit of your history, just to give us a bit of an intro.
Okay, cool. Before I do that, can I take this opportunity, because I might not have another opportunity to do this with you, and to really, really thank you from the bottom of my heart and from all the South Africans that I know and speak to. You are the most amazing person. The time that you put in and your relentless advocating for our cause. We love you, we love you, we love you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Carene, and it really is my pleasure, and my heart really goes out to the things that you're facing. But yeah, over to you.
Okay, so I guess I am pretty much the face of a normal South African family. I'm a mom. I have 4 kids, ranging from 37 to my baby that's 20. I have 2 grandchildren. My husband had to start his own business because there weren't any job opportunities for him. Luckily, he's very, very, very good at what he does. So we've turned what could have been a very dire situation for our family into something bearable, I guess. I run my own business. I teach meditation and Reiki. I have always sort of walked on the edge of controversy where I don't advocate vaccines. I don't like Monsanto at all. I do the alternative stuff. So I'm pretty much a red-pilled human being, I guess. I live by a very simple philosophy, to see things the way that they are, not like I'd like them to be. And at the moment in South Africa, we need to see things the way that they are, not the way that we'd like them to be. We are facing
We need a wake-up call.
Serious problems. Yes, yes. I find in my everyday conversations with South Africans, and it's across the board, there is this apathy or denial or not wanting to engage or see what is happening. And in order for us to change anything, we've got to acknowledge that there's a problem in the first place. And then we need to put a stop to it. We have to stand up and say, no, this is not okay. No, we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah. Look, I think one of the big problems is that the white population are really first world civilization, and the government is third world civilization, and it's just taking the whole country down the drain. Now, tell me how your life has changed for you and your family since 1994, when Mandela took over government.
Okay, so, coming from the apartheid era, in 1994, I think there was this huge surge of needing things to be better, and South Africans really believing that we could create something bigger and better. I remember 1995 with the Rugby World Cup, that there was this sense of unity and absolute beautiful ideas about the future.
Yeah, isn't it ironic that Trotsky and Durant played in that game?
Exactly. And look where they are today, in a near tragedy. So my heart goes out to them. yet they're just a statistic now in South Africa. And it saddens me. So when I sat down with my family, because we had to have a discussion, because it's not a very safe thing to do, what I'm doing today.
Yeah.
It makes us a target. And I needed to discuss this with my family. And they were concerned but supportive. So we sat down and we said, okay, so we're going to take our really close-knit family and we're going to just go through what we have experienced since 1994 in this period of time, the 23, 24 years, what impact just the violent environment has had on us. So I sort of just broke it down. So when I talk about our experiences, it means my family, myself, my husband, and my children, their partners, and cousins, and very, very close friends that we've known for 30 years or more.
Right.
So look at muggings. There were no injuries. My daughter in broad daylight was mugged in Cape Town. My second youngest son, 4 times on his way home from school, he was mugged, phone taken, whatever else that was of value. My youngest son, he was still in high school. He was threatened by a guy with a knife on his way home from school. There were numerous break-ins, house breaks, where lots of stuff was stolen. I think we counted between a lot of us about 12 or 15.
Wow.
2 attempted hijackings, and both of them were with a gun held to this person's head. Assaults, 2 people beaten badly and left for dead.
Wow.
Nephew was stabbed and he nearly died. My late brother-in-law was robbed 2 or 3 times, and the last time he was shot and wounded. A family friend of ours, he was 72 years old. He was beaten to death in his house, and
Terrible.
cell phone and some money was stolen. My cousin was shot in front of his family. Luckily, he survived, but his in-laws that lived with them, they're both in their 70s, were beaten so badly that they needed to be hospitalized for about 3 weeks. Very old friends of mine, dear friends of mine. We've been friends for 30 years. They luckily survived a farm attack, but still to this day, and this is about 8 or 9 years ago, they are still going through trauma therapy. And my husband's cousin, or second cousin, John Bosman, he was shot and killed in the beginning of October. So that is just our close family, just our family. Now, when you go and speak to other families, you will hear the same type of story. Crime seems to be an accepted norm in South Africa. Do you know what really makes me crazy, Scott? Is when people talk about this like it's part of Days of Our Lives or some other reality TV show, and then they say, oh, but it's just normal crime. What the hell does that mean?
Violence can never be normal.
Just normal crime.
Yeah.
Have we become so accepting of a violent society that we just brush aside violence as the norm? That's bullshit. That's not okay. We cannot teach our children that. We cannot leave that legacy.
Exactly. Now.
So, sorry, I just want to add to the.
Yeah, go ahead.
To that. it just seems to be like a pervasive lawlessness that the government doesn't seem to have a handle on. Taxi drivers are renowned for being totally lawless on the road. They put people's lives in danger and just nothing happens. I don't understand.
Yeah, the trouble is society is breaking down. That's what's going on.
Yeah, I agree. So, so for me, I need to ask this question about the crime, because it is so important for me to bring understanding to this. Since the democratically elected ANC government came to power in 1994, there's this process of decay that's been setting in, and that's what we have been experiencing. It's this insidious thing that has these tentacles that just flows into society, but it is so slow that you don't sort of realize that that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Until something really personal happens and you then have to look at that. So when Cyril Ramaphosa, and I have to be honest here, I find it difficult to call him my president, because he doesn't speak for me. And that is personal opinion.
Yeah.
It is my opinion. He does not speak for me. So when Cyril Ramaphosa was elected, he was welcomed enthusiastically, because he's now this amazing person that can do magic with money and the economy. So he was welcomed by South Africans as the savior after Jacob Zuma's near decade of destruction. So I would like to ask Mr. Ramaphosa publicly what he and the rest of the ANC were doing while Jacob Zuma raped and pillaged this country and its people. Where were they? Were they on holiday on Mars and arrived and, oh, okay, sure, this shit has been happening, so now we need to sort it out. Where were they?
Yeah, very good question. Very good question. Just talking about what's happening in recent days in South Africa, what are your views on land exploitation without compensation? And the impact it's going to have.
Okay, for me, and that is from a lay person. I grew up on a farm just in KwaZulu-Natal, Pongola. So the land draws my heart and my soul. So I understand that connection that farmers have. So land expropriation without compensation is economic suicide. Nothing good can come out of that, because the numbers that this government is throwing around, and you see, here is the problem with the truthfulness and about people not investigating and looking at things properly. So when the numbers are thrown out there that most land is still owned by white people, it's absolute rubbish. 70% of land is owned by the ANC. Only about 20 to 22% is actually owned by white farmers. But the big thing for me is we can deal with all of that stuff, but we need to learn historical lessons vicariously through other examples like Venezuela and Zimbabwe lately.
Yeah.
Exactly. So learn those lessons. How well did what happened there work for them? So now we want to take that situation and transplant that into our society. How well is that going to work? So Malema makes a statement that they just didn't do it properly, that we will do it properly. So they will do it as properly as they have managed the healthcare and SARS and our education system, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
So it was down to for South Africans in the street, all South Africans, no farmers, no food.
Yeah.
No farmers and no food. So my perspective there, and this comes from the heart, is that the greatest sin that South African farmers committed was to work hard and supply food for domestic use and export that creates revenue
Yeah.
and jobs. That was their sin.
Yeah. I think whites had a lot of sins. I mean, one of them, for example, is they developed a health system that allowed the black population to multiply like it has. And there's no birth control on their side, so they have these huge families. And that's why there are so many millions of black Africans now in South Africa.
I also believe, Scott, that there is such a cultural difference because, you know, we look at things from the perspective of, okay, can I afford this?
Yeah.
Can I make this work? It's not about handing over the responsibility, and I'm really a libertarian in that sense that I feel that government has way too much reach into our lives as citizens, and we really need to get to a point where we understand that your government works for you.
Yeah.
Pay their salaries. They are our employees. We seem to get stuck in the situation of they tell us what to do and they do as they please.
Yeah.
We need to take our power back and say, no. Your reach is way too far. You need to know your place.
Yeah.
Which means that you are our employees. You are here to fulfill our wishes. You need to do what we want you to do. So when you have these two cultures that clash, and I love Malema that nails Western culture and colonialism, and this is bad and bad, but he walks around with the Breitling watch and the suits, and he benefits from all of this stuff.
Yeah, he's a hypocrite.
But he is an absolute hypocrite. Absolute hypocrite. So I guess I'm going to be in trouble for that, but I will always do it as I see it. So he needs to be respectful. I'm way older than he is.
Yeah. Now,
So, sorry. So I just want to add to that
Sure.
that this situation really makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
The land appropriation, it's not economically viable, and Ramaphosa knows this. So I'm wondering what the agenda is behind this. What drives this, really?
I think.
And I have an idea.
Yeah. Carry on. Sorry.
I have an idea. For 24, 25 years, all the promises that they've made to win votes, none of those things have materialized. In fact, the opposite has been happening. That we have seen this crash in our infrastructure. We've seen we're pretty much a bankrupt country. There's gross mismanagement. Unemployment is an all-time high. Education, healthcare systems failing, and people are unhappy. So what is left to promise? Land.
Yeah. I think you're spot on.
Yeah, and to target people that are a minority, and please understand that it's not just the white minority. There are other people that are targeted in South Africa as well. So we are targeted, and because they think that we do not have a voice, they can do as they please.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. Now, moving on to a different subject. You're very involved with the Black Monday group. Can you tell people what that's all about and how you're going to promote it next year, and anything else you'd like to talk about with that?
Okay, so I joined the Black Monday group, and I'm sad to say that I was as complacent as most South Africans about where our country is headed. And it took the death of somebody in our family to actually motivate me to become involved. And I phoned Black Monday on Friday evening, and I said, well, I will come and help, and thinking I would maybe make tea and run errands, or, do like odd little jobs. And from the Friday evening to the Saturday morning at 7:30, I was informed that I was then leader of Black Monday Cape Town, and I had a week to put together a march. So I was sort of like chucked in the deep end, and I had to sink or swim. So I dog-paddled all the way. But we got there. So what Black Monday is, it is an identitarian movement which subscribes to freedom and safety, peace, civilization, law and order, and economic prosperity for all ethnic groups. So basically what we do is we come together to give a voice to marginalized minority groups that are targeted in our society. And our main focus, absolute main focus, is the farm murders, and to create an awareness in South Africa to stop this needless violence. It is absolutely insane. The rape and the torture and the murder that is perpetrated on a daily basis in our society needs to stop, and this government does not seem to have a handle on it. So where does it stop? We have to make it stop. There is nobody that is coming to save us. We need to save ourselves.
Yeah.
And
actually, later on this evening, I'm going to be talking to Mark du Plessis, who's from the Boere Legion, and they're actually have groups all over South Africa which are basically preparing for defense of the white population in their areas. And it's going to be an interesting discussion that we'll have a little bit later on. But to carry on with Black Monday, sorry.
Okay, so that pretty much is our focus, that point where it is enough. Enough. The government and the people that need to protect it. I was on social media. I'm actually banned from social media by myself because I would be in serious trouble. So on the few platforms that I've been, I was told by this person that really what is it that we're whining about? We're just getting what we deserve. And it brought home to me the disconnectedness of human to human. And my heart bled for this person that could be so callous. And my response to him or her was, you don't live here. You have no idea. You see a white face, and that equals racist to you. And I'm telling you that I am fighting for my people, the survival of my people.
Yeah.
And that is everybody that is not here to cause mayhem and destruction.
I think the mainstream media have a huge role to play in misleading people around the world about what's actually happening in South Africa. Because if a white person attacks an African, that's world news, like that coffin case. But if a white farmer gets and his family get raped and beaten and tortured for hours and hours and hours by a gang of thugs, black thugs, it doesn't even get a mention. I mean, the duplicity of the media is extraordinary.
I don't even bother with that. I have a name for them. So, and I can't repeat it here. So mainstream media just doesn't feature. You've seen it. I've been very vocal about that on your feed. So, um, what our next Black Monday is on the 28th of January 2019. And I want to appeal to South Africans that are listening. Please, whoever you are, whatever your beliefs are, if you are against rape, torture, murder, please stand up and raise your voice so that we can be heard. Because when they start wiping us out, then the next could be some other minority group or another minority group. When does it end? When do they come for you? And when is there nobody that will speak up for you? Now is the time for us to do that. I would really like to suggest, Scott, just to as a by the by about Black Monday, because I'm this tiny little cog in this organization that's quite amazing. Our national chairperson, she's flippin' feisty and awesome. Her name is Valerie Baileyfeld.
Yeah.
You would do well to just have her on your show and just chat to her. She has a lot more knowledge about the workings of Black Monday. I'm sort of the foot soldier, and I do what I'm told to do. So,
could you perhaps have a word with her and see if we can perhaps organise something for early next year? A couple of weeks before Black Monday, and have a chat about it.
Yes, I'm sure she would be okay with that.
Cool.
So, I don't want to only speak negatively about South Africa. We have this beautiful country with beautiful people, and when you just talk to normal people on the street, I'm not talking about the red beret, red shirted fools that run around creating absolute mayhem, and BLF people that shout their mouths off and are irresponsible. What my message to them are, that dead is forever, and having a revolution and a war is not a solution to anything, because everybody loses there. Death is forever.
Yeah.
Don't be so quick to push things in that direction.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just hiding someone in the side channel who's been a bit... I've got to keep an eye on the side channel from time to time. And,
that's all good.
I've just...
probably give you, I could probably give you his name.
Yeah, Givik, he's gone. Givy, Eric,
okay.
He's gone. I've hidden him.
All right.
Okay, sorry, let's get back to what we're talking about here now. So, if you could have a word with her, I'd love to have her on the live stream early in January, which would be a few weeks before you actually go have your next march.
I'm sure she would not have a problem, and even if she did, I would really browbeat her into doing it.
I'm sure you would.
And she would. She'd love it.
Oh.
She'd love it. But she's an amazing person, and she works so hard to give us a voice. I really honor her and all the other leaders. We're a group of leaders across the country that are so supportive of one another. There's Eddie and there's Charmaine and there's Gardner, and I'm going to leave people out and I don't want to, but these are all amazing people that just work for their communities on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It's
great.
It gives me hope. It gives me hope.
It shows, quite honestly, the difference in the way the white population actually take on a challenge to, people like the EFF. They just cause chaos. While groups like Black Monday, they try and resolve the problem and try and create solutions. There's such a chasm between the two.
Yes, and it truly is what our mission is to create an environment that we can resolve things, because we can forever blame the past and we can forever go back there. We can, and we will stay stuck there with the same problems.
Yeah.
So now we are where we are right now. What are we going to do with this now? And that is the big question. What are we going to do with this so that we can create an environment of peace, harmony,
Yeah.
and prosperity for our children, all our children? And
Now,
that's
something that you raised in the comments earlier last week was the United South African Coalition. What I'll do is I'll actually drop the website link into side chat. And could you tell us a bit about what that's all about?
okay. So we have, apart from you, the relentless South African Australian that bats in our corner all the time.
Yeah.
We have American friends. She's called Conservative Texas Woman. Her name is Brandy. And then there is an amazing guy called Craig Montgomery.
Right.
And there are a couple of other people, and I'm sorry I can't remember their names. I'm still working through all of that information. And
Right.
they have relentlessly been working on our behalf, just the same, to prevent a genocide happening here and to put the spotlight on the really dire situation here in South Africa.
Yeah.
So they formed this coalition. So this is just this group of people that are working together and to create an environment where we have a voice overseas. That is what they're doing. There is a website that's up now, so if people could please go here and subscribe and sign that petition. It needs to go to the UN because that useless group of people need to actually catch a wake up and see what's happening.
Oh, they're absolutely useless.
I agree. So they are just normal people that see what's happening here and they are not okay with it. And really, Scott, from the bottom of my heart, I'm sort of looking at, because I see South Africa as a microcosm to the macrocosm that is global, and we seem to be mirroring the same problems and the same issues, and that is the destruction of our family values, our moral code that seems to have gone for a ball of whatever. We seem to have lost this guide that of right and wrong. People can just go crazy when they don't agree with you. They don't need to sit down and have a debate or a discussion. They can just go nuts and break stuff and burn stuff. And so it's happening globally.
Yeah.
So what is it that we are missing?
Well,
What is it that we're losing?
in France, they're looking at making a state of emergency because of what's going there right now. You know, it's just crazy
Exactly.
the violence going on in France. And it seems to come whenever you let illegal immigrants into a country. It seems to, it's like a catalyst. It just stirs up violence. And South Africa's been a huge importer of illegals. There are millions of Africans who've come into South Africa from northern countries. Millions of them.
Yeah. Yep. We speak to them because my husband sort of works in, He's an accumulator. He sharpens knives and fixes chef's knives. And he works obviously in the kitchens, and he speaks to a lot of people on a daily basis, and he can engage people very, very, very clearly. And then he come home and he said to me, I was talking to this old guy and he's from the EFF, and we have a difference of opinion. And I'm like, I said to him, why do you think that way? That's just crazy.
Yeah.
I said, you're talking to the EFF like that? So there's just this huge cultural sort of difference. And I don't know whether you know about, I don't know whether it was in France or Sweden. I'm not going to commit to that, but a kid was raped, and her perpetrator was released because that was part of his culture. That's what happens because she was embraced correctly.
That's crazy.
And I read this report, and I don't sort of take anything at face value, and then I went and looked at different sites. It is actually so. So how can you okay that?
Yeah.
Why and how and why should you?
It's so wrong, isn't it? I mean, the whole standard of living, or the moral structure has broken down.
And that's not okay. But when you say it's not okay, then you become a supremacist or a racist or
you get labeled.
Yes. And that's not okay. And I'm also sort of done with that nonsense.
Yeah.
Because whether you black or white or pink, yellow, gray, I don't care what color you are. When you are doing something that is not okay, so you know it's not okay to go and burn down something or beat somebody or stab somebody, or you know that that's not okay. So it doesn't matter what color you are, and I say that that's not okay. That does not make me a supremacist or a Nazi or a racist or anything like that. It just makes me somebody that says, you are disturbing my peace.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to do that. And you are disturbing somebody else's peace. And you're not allowed to do that either. And it's time that we stop with the guilt and we stand up and say, what you are doing is wrong.
Yeah.
It is morally wrong.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, before bring you to we discuss Putin and Scott Morrison, Trump, because I know you want to give them a message. What are your views on, or your family's views on migrating from South Africa, and what's stopping you migrate to a country which you feel could be safer for you?
Okay, so I'm torn because I have a love for my country, but I love my family more. So I have a 20-year-old son that at this point in South Africa, unless he starts his own business, and how many 20-year-olds can manage that in a system that's stacked against them.
Yeah.
Sure. So he's in a situation that he is economically downtrodden. He's in every way the both is stacked against him. So if it gets to a point where we do not find a solution, and I pray that we do, I really do. This is not his fight. He is a freeborn, which means he was born post 94. He wasn't even part of any of this, and he was definitely not privileged in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So he's being punished for something that he had nothing to do with. So that would be my motivation to leave South Africa. And for me to have peace around my head, I am Scott, so tired of violence.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it. I'm tired of living in a prison.
Yeah.
Because you lock yourself in, and you have all these security measures, and before you go out, you need to do this and that and the other. It is insane. I want peace around my head. And I know that no other place is perfect.
Yeah.
I need that sense of safety. And I also need to know that for him, there is an equal opportunity, that if you on merit, you can do your job and you are good at it, you will get somewhere.
Yeah.
So contrary to popular belief, not all white South Africans are rich. There are very many white squatter camps with no hope of those people receiving help from the government. We feed families, we clothe families, so I collect food and I collect clothing, and it's distributed to families in need. So it is prohibitively expensive to go through even a visa application for a holiday. If you've got enough money to go on a holiday overseas with the rand as it is, it is prohibitively expensive. And before you even apply for the visa, they tell you that all of these forms and things that you need. So you need X amount of money in your bank account per person before you can actually leave South Africa. So even if you wanted to leave and just go and try your luck somewhere, it's near impossible to do that. Most people don't have that amount of money.
Have you heard of the Schengen visa?
Yes.
Because that costs about 1,000 rand, and there are 10 European countries where you can actually get that visa. And it costs about 1,000 rand.
400 rand. Try 1,400 rand.
Yeah, is that what
per
it is?
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can get in.
Yeah.
But they make sure that you leave.
Yeah. Well.
We have no asylum or refugee status, because what is happening in South Africa is not recognized as a problem.
What I've heard about in Australia, and this might be of interest to your son, is that if you can get someone to sponsor you to go and work, and it might be on a farm or it might be something like that, you can get a 3-year visa. And after the 3 years are up, I've been told that you can then actually apply for permanent residency in Australia. Now, that's something that people need to speak to an immigration expert about. There might be, different sort of technicalities involved, but that could certainly be an option for him.
Yeah, you see now there you've just raised another point. If you now need to speak to immigration lawyers and stuff like that,
they're expensive, I know.
Really, really expensive.
Yeah.
So you're looking at, I think we heard about somebody that's going to New Zealand, and just to redo her test to see whether she's qualified enough. She's a hairdresser. Cost 35,000 rand.
What? $3,500 US dollars.
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy.
So now you need to go, and because we explored those options, it would cost us around about 150,000 rand to get him out of this country.
Wow, that is just terrible.
You're not assured.
Yeah.
Then you're not assured.
Yeah. So you might not even get accepted.
Exactly. So you've spent all of that money, and you're not sure whether you're going to get that visa. So we are in a really dire situation here,
Yeah.
where our rand is devalued to the point where it's difficult for South Africans to go on holiday in their own country. So to live here is insane.
Yeah, you know what I've been advocating that South Africans do, because the rand is going to collapse when they start expropriating land without compensation.
Yes.
I've been advocating that you take your money out of the bank and buy the gold Kruger rands, because you can
Yes.
put those away somewhere very safely, and
Yeah.
they will retain value because they're in US dollars. So let's say the rand crashes from where it's about 15 rand to a dollar now. Say it crashes to 30 rand to a dollar, you will still get the equivalent value because the gold coin is actually in US dollars. So it's a very good
Yes.
way to actually keep the value in your cash.
Yeah, it was actually one of the things that Donovan thought about, my husband thought about.
Yeah.
A good way of doing that. But you know, if they do change the constitution, because it seems that that's what is on the cards at this point,
Yeah.
that it's not only land that can be expropriated. South Africans need to wake up and read the constitution properly.
So they can
It's all
expropriate anything.
It's all property.
That's crazy.
So anything you own. So, and I think the minute that our constitution is touched, a door is opened to hell.
Yeah. Yeah, you play with the constitution and you cause real big issues.
Yeah, because when you start with one thing, are you going to end there, or are you going to just carry on?
Yeah. Now,
So,
you have a message for Putin and Scott Morrison and Donald Trump, don't you? Regarding,
I do.
yeah. Would you like to give that message?
So, it is a personal appeal. Mine. My name is Carene Kutsia, and this is a personal appeal to President Trump, Prime Minister Scott Morrison, President Putin, and any other sane leader out there. Please, hear our call. Don't believe anything I have said tonight. Don't believe anything. Come here and spend time with normal South Africans. Don't hang around with the politicians, please. Spend time with normal South Africans and hear, really hear their stories. While there is political posturing taking place out there in the international arena, my people and country dying. Please, don't relegate us to an historical event of genocide. Do something now while you still can. Please. That's it. That's all I can say.
It's very moving, Carene. I really appreciate you coming on and talking to the group. What I'll do is I'll put this discussion onto my main channel, just our discussion, so that people can see what the heck's going on. I might just do a separate little clip, which will be your appeal to Trump, Putin, and Scott Morrison. But speaking from Australia, my thoughts and my prayers go out to you. It must be a terrible situation to be stuck in. The reason I do what I do is because I'm trying to help in any which way I can. Because I am from South Africa. I grew up in South Africa, and I can totally relate to what you must be going through. Horrifies me. I mean, I think you guys are incredibly brave. You know, the way things have changed since I left South Africa, it's just extraordinary. Yeah, over to you.
I just once again can only say thank you, and I often comment on the clips because I watch them religiously, and especially when you go on one of your rants, I love it. It makes my day. And all I can say again to you, sometimes, especially when you do what I do, you get really bad news every day. I had a farm attack in Porterville, which is about an hour's drive away from me, just last week.
Yeah.
And she's on my group, and I switch my phone on in the morning, and I don't know what I'm going to find.
Yeah.
So I listen to you, and especially when you're talking about the games, and it lightens my soul. So what I want to say to you is that one day, you will be blessed because of what you do. And I really thank you. Definitely from my family's perspective, I can't speak for anybody else, but from my family and from me, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for everything that you do. For everything that you do. Even when we were on holiday, we were working.
Yeah, I was. Look, I'll always be here to support South African people. I'll always try and do what I can. I try and stay within the YouTube boundaries because I don't want to have my channel shut down. So it's kind of a you're walking a tightrope sometimes in what you can say and what you can't say. But
of course.
But I really do appreciate the time that we've enjoyed here, and I look forward to keep you in touch through the comments and things like that. And yeah, and have a lovely evening, and take care.
Thank you, Scott. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Wow, that was a pretty moving conversation, and I just want to say thanks to Carene for just my camera's not quite straight. I think it's been moved to. I will have to live with it like that. What I'm going to try and do now is get on the second interview, and just by way of a bit of background, Mark du Plessis is involved with the Boer Legion, and he is in that really tragic area called Ganubi, where the Buffalo municipality have just trashed. I mean, they've just run out of money, and the whole thing is just falling in a big heap. Okay, let me see if I can get Mark on. Okay, just call him up now. Oh, he's not online. All right, we'll try that again another day. What I might do is, seeing that during the discussion I had with Carene, we talked about this new visa, or this visa called a Schengen visa. And I've got a bit of information on it here that I'll just share with you. Basically, 10 European countries have opened the way for South Africans to travel without any conditions or visas. All you need is a valid South African passport. The statistics released by the Schengen Visa Info show that South Africans are highly interested to visit the Schengen zone. As the statistics show, the number of Schengen visas applications in this country has climbed higher than it could be expected. The visa costs about 1,000 rand per person. In 2016, 170,436 South African citizens applied for a Schengen visa. Last year, this number jumped to over 200,000 applications, an increase of 21%. The Schengen visa application in South Africa grew by 21% between 2016 and 2017. Italy grants the highest number of Schengen visas to South African citizens. 100% of Schengen visas at Netherlands embassies awarded to South African citizens were multi-entry visas. Now that's very important. What it means is you can keep using that visa to go back and go back and go back and go back. Okay, where's my spot here? Here we are. Austrian embassies awarded the most LTV visas in South Africa in 2017. Italian embassies located in the capital Johannesburg and in Pretoria and Cape Town collected the highest number of applications, continuing this way the tradition for the second consecutive year. The main consulate in Johannesburg received 26,091 Schengen uniform visa applications during 2017, and so it goes on. But apparently the Schengen visa, which I know very little about, is well worth having a look at. Now, I'm just going to see if I can get Mark. Maybe they've had a blackout or something, which is probably quite highly likely. Okay, let me just see if I can get him now. No, Mark isn't online. They've probably got a blackout in Ganubi, that'd be right. Now, geez, I'm at an angle here, aren't I? Let me see if I can fix this, sorry. I'm just being a bit anal here. Well, I'll go to the side chat, see I'm on my side. Yeah, that's exactly right, Dreaded. All you have to do is pretend you're a Muslim. Yeah, Glenn, Carene is a lovely lady, and she's really got her head switched on too. You know, she's a wonderful person to interview. She's really got her head screwed on. So how did you guys enjoy the interview with Carene? Oh, is that right, Dreaded? Okay. So UKIP. I like the guy who used to lead UKIP. I was a big fan of his. Damn. I will have this camera fixed for the next Sunday's chat. Oh dear. It's going from bad to worse. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. That'll have to do, I'm afraid. Yeah, no, Carene is amazing. And she's very, very involved in, as you heard, not only in Black Monday, but in, you know, charities and in trying to help people who are disadvantaged. Yeah, she did, Glenn. Just going to send Mark a message to see if he's I had a long chat to Mark earlier in the week, and he's an amazing guy. Yeah, I'll tell you more about him when we do actually get him on the channel. You're very welcome, Linda. Good to see you here. Hi, Willem. And I'm kind of still recovering from that interview, so just a big shout out to everybody here. Thank you for supporting the channel, and remember every Sunday 8 p.m. Johannesburg time we have the show. Okay, he's not replying to my message. I think he must have a blackout, and I'll just leave that. Oh, is there a new guy there, Dreaded? What's his name? I've forgotten the old guy, but he used to be a really good talker. Yeah, look, I'll do that, Rob. I'll do a little clip of Karene's message, and what I'll do is I'll do a link to her full interview. Wow, that's a good call, Dreaded. Well, she's probably just joining the channel. I'm not sure she's. What I'll do, Dreaded, is I'll perhaps you can send me an email. I'll put my email down here, and I'll just put you in touch with Carene. I've got her email. You're very welcome, Herman. I'll just see if Mark has given one last go. Mark's not there. Okay. Gerald Batten. Okay. I'll have to have a look at that, find out a bit more about him. Feeling like I should be putting my head at an angle so I'm straight, seeing I can't sort out this blooming camera. Oh, Don. Good to see you here. She did exceptionally well. Did you see that message from Dreaded? I don't think he'll take my call, Joe. Yeah. Hi, Ria. Good to see you here. This camera's crazy. Ah, got it. Nearly right. Oh, that'd be great, Dominus. So you're moving off the farm, Glenn? Yeah, we got to get the message out there, Darby, of what's going on. And I guess living in Australia, I have a huge geographic advantage about, reporting on what's going on in South Africa because the goons can't get to me, which is a huge benefit. A new beautiful one, Glenn? I thought you were married. Yeah, I think you're right, Annabelle. I think South Africa's destined to go down the, same way as Zimbabwe. So sad. That's actually, Glenn, you should take a holiday in South Africa and find the South African women are beautiful. They really are. And they've got they're just lovely people inside and out. Oh no, Australian women are friendly. Oh, okay, Glenn. Well, I'm sure you'll find someone who deserves you because you're a nice guy. Thanks, Dreaded. I'll have a look at that. Yeah, they are. I mean, I used to work in Pretoria, and do you remember Sunnybank? They had this huge shopping mall there. Oh, I used to go and hang out there with have a coffee and just watch these incredibly beautiful women, immaculately dressed, walking past the whole time. Oh wow. Yeah, that's at Sunnyside Mall. That's the one, Joe. I guess it's changed now, hasn't it? You'd probably spot the whitey now. Wow. Yeah, I really agree with you, Dreaded. I think that the white population should just settle in an area of South Africa and claim it as a separate state. I mean, the Africans wouldn't know how to, you know, build a toilet, let alone fight back with an army. Um, but, Statelanders, I guess not much more than other people know. I mean, it's a group that apparently has about 130,000 members. Um, and I'm not sure whether that's an accurate figure or not, but basically they get mobile text on their mobile phones when something's happening, so they can actually alert a lot of people very, very quickly. It isn't a confrontational group. It's more a defensive group, and I think the aim is to almost do what they're doing in Oranje. You know, have areas where the whites can gather and defend themselves if things really come apart at the seams. Yeah, I've heard that, Darby. 16-hour blackouts. That's crazy. I mean, how can you run out of coal? You know, how do you fire up the generators with coal? How can you run out of coal? That's crazy. Glenn, let me assure you that you would be very, very impressed with the South African ladies. They are just lovely. You should take a holiday there. You should go and see, you know, stay with Karene's family or something like that. And Karene's husband, he would probably be able to take you around. Obviously, if Karene, if Karene and Don were happy to do that. I see Don's gone very quiet. But I'm sure, seriously, I'm sure there is somebody, you know, who participates here in the channel, who would be happy to sort of take you around one of the major areas like Cape Town. Yeah, the last time I came to South Africa was in 2012, and wow, even then it was some of the areas you drive through are just crazy. Don, did you get that comment by one of our participants here about if you want a visa? Um, Yeah, Cape Town is probably one of the safer parts, and there's parts of Cape Town which are just incredibly dangerous, which sort of shows how bad it's getting. Yeah, that's exactly right. Here in Australia, you know, downtime with electricity is very, very minimal. Yeah, that's exactly right, Reddit. Have you noticed how many game farms in the Limpopo region where the coal is situated are now being expropriated without compensation? You know, it's clearly future planning for the Chinese, and it'll only be Chinese working in the mines. Wow, Willem, that's not good. Okay, I'm just going to see if Mark is back. You might send him a... Oh, he's still offline. Yeah, that's right, Teresa. Wow, that's a long time ago, Dreaded. Believe me. I drove through Johannesburg very, very quickly back in 2012. I mean, you know, the streets are crazy. There are people everywhere. Yeah, yeah. You know, what Carene said is so true that, you know, when you've lived in South Africa and I had a farm in South Africa near the Drakensberg, and I always, my heart always belongs to South Africa, you know, because I just feel so close to the land. I loved it there. It was so sad to have to let it go. Yeah, yeah, I can believe that, Don. Joe. Tesla, Teresa, Tesla are quite an interesting company. They've actually built a huge solar plant in South Australia, and it generates a huge amount of electricity for that state. You think so, Dreaded? Red Chinese will be the overseers. I don't think the blacks will have it that easy. I think they'll just be, you know, forced into the sea. I think the Chinese will just take over. Isn't it interesting that Zimbabwe is building a new parliament house? Harare. Guess who's going to be occupying that once it's built? It won't be the indigenous people, that's for sure. Yeah, that's exactly right, Peter. It's called to pay the Guptas. They skipped the country, didn't they? They went back to India, I believe. Okay, guys, I might shut down the live stream shortly. I know it's getting late for you guys in South Africa. Um, and what I'll do is I'll put a copy of the interview on the main channel. Um, And I'll also put that the appeal to Trump and Scott Morrison and to Putin by Carene also as a separate little clip with a link to the main interview. Yeah, Glenn and Joe, if you just send me an email, and I'll put you in touch with each other. How's that? Good night, Linda. You're very welcome, Don. Don, once again, thanks, Carene. She did a remarkable job. I mean, she spoke beautifully and made a lot of sense, and it was an honor to interview her. Thank you. All right, guys. I'm going to turn off the live stream, and I'll see you during the week in the comments. Have a great day, and have a good evening.